Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Cardano and its native token ADA. So if you guys like Cardano, want to see more analysis on it, we don't always just pull up TradingView. This video is going to be TradingView, but we do tend to look at things in a different way on the channel, using more of a data science quantitative analysis approach. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also let me know what you guys think about it in the description or in the comment section below. So let's go ahead and jump in. So one of the things we've been talking about with Cardano is, the move that we've been continuing to see over the last several months. We talked about, back down here at 3 and 4 cents, that it seems like Cardano is fairly bullish, especially with the impending launch of Shelly coming up, the testnet doing fairly well, people getting excited about proof of stake, and potentially seeing delays in the Ethereum transition to proof of stake. And it's no secret that Cardano is my main hedge against Ethereum during the market cycle. So one of the things I want to talk about again is, despite the fact that you see Bitcoin kind of all over the place the last couple days, moving from our current range up to around 9,700 and then straight back down. I mean, this is again par for the course for Bitcoin. But the important thing, as we have mentioned, is that the weekly moving averages for Bitcoin. The 20-week is our long-term bullish indicator for a bull market, because this is what we tend to hold as support several times throughout a bull market. So as long as we continue to hold support or stay above the 20-week moving average, we would anticipate that ADA would still likely to do well, considering everything. I think considering all the momentum for that project right now. Now, if you look at the price of ADA, it's still, if you look at the weekly time frame, I mean, it still tells a really nice story. We mainly have been going up. We moved sideways a little bit, going back up, kind of going back sideways for a while. But again, when could we anticipate a correction? Well, again, a strong correction, if we were to drop say 20 or 30%, I feel like the main thing that would influence a drop like that would just be Bitcoin going back down to say the 20-week moving average. If you see Bitcoin going back down to the 20-week moving average and potentially going below it, then just the move back down to the 20-week moving average is already a 10%, 11% move for Bitcoin. Now, in the situation that Bitcoin drops below the 20-week moving average, so I mean, for those of you who don't invest in Bitcoin, are primarily focused on Cardano, I mean, that's fine if you want to do that. My point is it does tend to move to some degree with respect to Bitcoin if Bitcoin is going to become bearish. So if you see Bitcoin dropping down to the 100-week moving average, which is somewhere in this region right here, around negative 20%, this is something that would obviously negatively impact Cardano. Until that happens, as long as Bitcoin is staying up here in this region of well above the 50-week and especially above the 20-week, then to me, I'm still excited about Cardano continuing its current move. Now, if you look, this is one of my favorite charts to look at for ADA, just the valuation against Bitcoin, because this is what's important in my opinion. Whether your goal is to stack sats or not, the argument is that if you're invested within the cryptocurrency asset class and you have say 10 different coins and you can't do at least as well as Bitcoin is doing, then you're doing something wrong. Why have a portfolio of 20 different coins if they're just constantly losing value against Bitcoin? Not only are you missing out on profits, but then when taxes come around, it's a much more complicated situation to deal with than if you were just holding Bitcoin. So you need a compelling reason to hold coins like ADA. And we've talked before in some past videos about the future of the channel and diversification, not only within crypto, but also in terms of other asset classes, developing what's known as the efficient frontier, which is your risk-adjusted returns, and why it can be important in including assets like ADA in your portfolio. So if you want to see this in the future, make sure you definitely subscribe to the channel. But this is one of those charts that I really like to look at. We talked about this chart when we were in this region many times. Now, if you just draw these kind of base lines that Cardano tends to trade in, and I mean again these are nothing more than imaginary lines, but just trying to guide your eye as to some of these regions that Cardano, that the token ADA tends to respect to some degree. I mean, this is, I would say, like our base accumulation region down here with respect to Bitcoin. And we were in this region for, I mean, quite a long period of time. And we were here for almost a year. I mean, 322 days. So it was a fairly significant period of time when we were in this window. The way that I could see us returning to this window would be two things. Either Bitcoin falls below the 20-week moving average, I could see us returning back to this window, or if Bitcoin all of a sudden became incredibly bullish and started going to like 14K, 20K over the next, if it happened quickly, then this is something that also could send ADA back down to this region, because remember, it's with respect to Bitcoin. And we know that when Bitcoin makes a move to 20K, a lot of the rest of the market will likely kind of watch what's going on. And then once it gets back to that previous all-time high, that's when the rest of the market is kind of more or less free to do whatever it wants in terms of just, money just pouring into different coins, and a lot of exuberance returning back to the market. So those are the two main things that I could see sending ADA back into this window. I'd say that the current window we're in is this one right here, roughly drawn. Where we haven't really spent a whole lot of time in this window if you look at the history of ADA. When we drop down below it, we just drop straight through it, and so far we've gone straight back to the top of it. But the key thing is, even whether we're in this window for a few months or not, I mean, it's easy to identify some of these levels, right, over the long period of time with respect to Bitcoin that certainly I think it's important to at least pay somewhat attention to. I think looking at levels like this as well, I mean, it's possible we're likely going to spend a lot of time in this region. And remember that when ADA moves against Bitcoin, it's most likely going to be again with respect to key Bitcoin milestones, like Bitcoin getting to its previous all-time high and Bitcoin getting to the end of its bull run. Now, one of the things during a bull market and a slow grind upwards is that you can see, you can still see positive movements with respect to Bitcoin, but you're likely not going to see something. You're likely not going to see something like this in the short term, because to see something like this, Cardano would need to go up 800% in 21 days, and I really don't see that happening. To give you an idea, if you weren't in the crypto markets in 2017, if we were to go up 800% from where we currently are in 21 days, just to give you an idea of how just extreme that time was, if you weren't in the crypto market at that time, it would have looked something like this. So it would correspond to Bitcoin going up to this region, or Cardano going up to this region with respect to Bitcoin in just a few days. And it would actually go, basically not to the top of the wick exactly, but essentially it would be comparable to that move we saw last time. To give you, some people I think have a harder time, thinking about it in terms of, thinking about Cardano in terms of Bitcoin, and they prefer to think about it in terms of the US dollar. Well, this chart that I just happened to pull up doesn't go all the way back, but we know, roughly what the price was when it really started to move, and it was around 2 cents or so. You could have gotten in a little bit earlier, but I think it was more or less around 2 cents or so. And if you had, I'm just picking a random point here, and if we had gone up all the way to, let's just try to get it right at around 2 cents. And let's take a measured move. So let's take it at around 2 cents here. And if we went up to our previous all-time high, so that was around $1.30 or so, and we know it was around just a few weeks. Just like it was for its valuation with respect to Bitcoin, it was about 3 weeks or so. So if we then look at the price here, what happened? How much did it go up in that time period? Well, if you look at it, 2 cents to about $1.33 is, it's crazy if you think about it. It was a 6,500% move, okay, in about a month or so. So that you can appreciate what that would look like if it happened today. I'm not saying it is. I would say that it's almost assuredly not going to happen. But if you were to see something like that, even like a 6,000% move, it would take us to $5 from our current price. But we know, we're not on this channel. We don't say, oh, ADA is going to $10 tomorrow. Bitcoin's going to $100,000 tomorrow. We know this is not true. The data clearly suggests that these coins move at key milestones, and people will then spend years waiting for that 2 or 3 week window that comes. It's like a fleeting moment in time, and then it's gone. And you either take advantage of that time or you don't. And the purpose of this channel is to help prepare you for those times, in addition to branching out to other asset classes, because I think diversification is key. So the grind that we're looking for ADA is likely going to take place over the next 3 years. It's certainly feasible to imagine that ADA, the move, say, back to $1, could take another 2 years at least. Okay, and then a move past that, it's crazy how quickly things can move once Bitcoin gets to a new paradigm shift, because it might take you 2 or 3 years to get to see a certain level of return, and then to see that same return duplicated, it might only take 2 days. So you have to be smart, because if you don't take advantage of times like that, then what's going to happen is you're going to see it come. You're going to see coins. Hopefully ADA is one of them. Obviously we understand the risks involved, but imagine that ADA does do something akin to what Ethereum did in the last market cycle, or akin to what many coins did in the last market cycle, and imagine that it does some version of it in the next market cycle. Well, if it happens, if you see ADA going up by 10x in a very short period of time, you have to remember that a movement like that is likely not going to be sustained in the long term, which is why I always say it's smart to take profits. Again, I get that people say it's good to hold, it's good to hodl, but again, that's just a meme. If you're really trying to come out ahead and create a better life for you, your family, whoever it may be, then taking advantage of moves like that is key. Now, if the primary reason you bought ADA down here was just because Ben mentioned it on his channel and I thought it was a good time, I thought I should just go buy it. I certainly don't think that you should do anything just because I'm covering that project. But you can see that it has gone up significantly, and again, there's nothing wrong with choosing to take profits at various times during the market cycle. Personally, for me, as long as Bitcoin stays above the 20-week moving average, and especially the 50-week, I'm certainly not getting rid of any of my ADA. I would love to continue. Once the mainnet rolls out, I would love to stake it and continue to participate in that, because I do think that the narrative of Cardano is a good one, and I really do think that there's a good chance that it will become one of the major movers of this market cycle. And I do think another sector, if you're not already involved within this market cycle, would be decentralized finance. I think it's fairly clear that will have that DeFi will play a significant role in this next bull run market cycle. You can already see a lot of those coins taking off. So diversification is key. Obviously, we're going to continue covering ADA on the channel. Let me know what you guys think. If you're curious as to what where the price may go, just watch Bitcoin. Look at what Bitcoin's doing. We're not that far away from these key price points. The 50-week moving average is about 5% away, and then the 20-week moving average is about 10% away. And again, we know that Bitcoin can drop 5% in a day or 10% in a day. We've seen this before. So if your goal is just to continue stacking ADA for the next 2 or 3 years, then this is irrelevant to you, because you don't care what the price does in the short term. You're just happy to continue stacking, continue earning, so that in the future you might have double the amount of ADA that you would have today, just by doing nothing more than staking your ADA tokens. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will try to cover ADA. I'm thinking that I'm trying to come up with a little bit more of a schedule here. I'll probably try to cover ADA approximately every 2 weeks or so, because I am going to try to branch out on the channel and cover other asset classes and talk about more traditional financial tools, like the Sharpe ratio, the Sortino ratio, the efficient frontier, and all that stuff. So I'm thinking about every 2 weeks, and if you think that's interesting, you want to get an update on Cardano every couple weeks, then make sure you subscribe. Check out the Telegram channel in the description below. We also do have a premium list in the description below if you want to follow that out. And that'll wrap it up for this video. See you next time, guys. Bye.